Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Romans and countrymen, all the ships at sea. Lend me your beer. It is great to see you all. It is Friday night. We are coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee. My name is Gary Blevins, and we are apparently just a scant hours away from the apocalypse of snow and ice and every other thing that's supposed to fall from the sky. It is. We're gonna hang out though. This is solid Axis and Allies weekend for those of you anywhere from like Western Texas through Vermont. I think this is a good Axis and Allies weekend for everybody. So strap in. I hope everybody's going to be okay and is safe and is able to keep the power on. That's what we're hoping here. We're hoping to keep the power on. We're supposed to get like 3/4 of an inch of ice, which is messy. So we're gonna try to hang in, but we're certainly going to make it through tonight. It's not supposed to start for a few hours, so hopefully we're able to get through there. Again, we're keeping a kind thought for our friends in Minneapolis. They have lots of, and all points north, there is lots of cold up there. So we're hoping that everybody's doing well and is safe and enjoying the dog days of winter, as I call them. So I saw the sun the other day for a moment, which we don't get a whole lot of, but anyway, so we've got a ton to get through today. We've got a couple folks already in the chat. Robin is here from Minneapolis. Great to see you. Dave Whitfield is here and laughing at us because, Dave, I believe you're in Australia, so it is summertime there, so none of that made any sense. General Hyde is here. Great to see you. Ensign Strum. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Biscuit and Beer has offered his sage Axis and Allies advice. Roll ones. Very good. I like it. That's sound advice. It seems to happen to me. I seem to roll the most ones when I'm rolling for strategic bombing damage. That seems to be where I roll all the ones. It's kind of the craziest thing. Brazil is here. Great to see you. Jeb, man, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Utah has arrived in the house. Great to see you. Tom Haver is here. Great to see you, brother. And lots of great folks here. Ken Schmidt is here. Thank you for watching the videos. We're doing our best to keep them coming. We're in the middle now of editing the semifinal video that will be available for everybody next week. We're excited about that one. The reception so far for the two videos that we've got out right now is about 30% better than it was last year. So the 42-second edition final video has right around 30,000 views on it already after 7 days or 8 days now. And this time last year, it only had about 15 or 16,000 on it. So that's good news. We're growing the audience. I'd love to hear that. So fantastic. We're glad that everybody's here. Timothy. Yes. Got me in love with Axis and Allies. What a game. It is something else. We've got in Korea has arrived here. Man, we got them from all over the world today. So glad that everybody's here. Thank you for tuning in. UT Philobio? Is that a philosophy bio major? That'd be an interesting combination, wouldn't it? Thank you for being here. We appreciate all the support. Charles, man, great to see you, brother. It's apparently a balmy 58 degrees in Las Vegas, so they're struggling out there. So, yes, I understand. Great to see you. Thanks for being here, Charles. Great to see you. Another Duberman is here from Utah. Great to see you. And best channel for Axis and Allies, very kind. Thank you very much for being a member. We've picked up several members over the last week. We're very, very grateful. And a couple of folks have stepped in and upgraded, including our fellow semifinalist at the World Championship this year, in 2025, Mr. Brian Smith of Game Smiths is our newest general. And so we appreciate that. He gets an applause. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate the support. Hope he's able to make it to the chat today. I'm sure he'll have something to say about our analysis of his play. But we'll see how that goes. But awesome. So, yeah, we just got a ton like I said, to get through today. So let's, without any further, Portland is here. Great to see you, Portland. Thanks for being here. Without any further ado, let's bring on our dear friend, Mr. Douglas Thorpe. Great to see you. Hey.
Hey, Gary. Hey, everybody.
Doug Thorpe gets the glockenspiel when he shows up here. 2023 Access Knowledge World Champion. So,
happy Friday, man. How's it
and
going?
to you, sir.
Thanks.
And to you, sir. It's. I will tell you, this time of year, I don't really get weekends because it's just like, I'm. The amount of editing that is required, and I got all the stills shot for the second semifinal match, which is going to feature Eric. I think his last name is Zelensky. I'm almost sure. Eric Zelensky, Dave Jensen, and Mike Stedman playing in the semifinal match. That will be not this coming week, but the week after that. And then we'll have the final match, which will be, of course, the winners of each of the semifinal matches will be playing in that final game. So awesome. We're excited about that. No. So, Jeb, we're making friends in the comments here. Jeb and Duberman are both in Utah, and there's like 9 people that live in Utah, so they probably know each other. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's I should be kind. There's probably as many people in Utah that were in my high school. That's probably fair. My high school had like 5,000 people. I went to a very big high school. Yes, this was, in fact, a wild game. There are. Oh, that's fun. That's a fun roll. I like that. In my games, I use an extra roll on each of the U.S.'s turns. I roll a die. The result of 1 or 3 a soldier is generated in Brazil, symbolizing our valiant smoking stakes. Key to the conquest of Italy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Fun little history note there at the same time.
I like it from the Allies.
Right, no doubt. You're going to need something to balance that for the Axis.
Yeah, it's the only problem.
Vichy French, maybe?
Yeah.
That might be a way to do that, but that's a fun idea. Do you do that in the anniversary or just a global edition? That would be, I suppose that would make a big difference. But well, awesome. So I'm going to tell everybody that the next video that you're going to see is going to be a little different. You might have heard it in my voice last week or in the live stream before, but I've been fighting a cold that I got from my grandkids for Christmas, and it's a lot. They're givers. That's what they are. They're givers, and also like germ machines. And I love them more than life itself. But they are absolute germ machines. And so I got set down, and I was absolutely sick as hell. And it was only through the help of our dear friend, Mr. Ponce Jones, over at Board Game Hackers. If you have not subscribed to his channel, please take a moment and do that. His channel's a lot of fun, and he just makes some really great content. And he stepped up and edited a big chunk of the video that you saw this week, right? So the quarterfinal video, like that video would not have been out this week without his help. And the pictures that you're going to see that are part of the rebuild in next week's video were actually taken by Brian and Tracy Hyde up in Minnesota. So they jumped in, and I sent them the raw video, and they took that and recreated the game on their table. They basically, I took over their game room for, I don't know, a week and a half or however long it took for them to do it. And they did a great job. And so the pictures, their pictures are very good. They just look a little different than mine. So you're going to see a little bit of a difference when you see that. And you'll definitely hear it in my voice in the video. When Doug and I were finished with that session, it was like almost 4 hours long to get through that game. About 15 minutes after that video ended, I lost my voice for 4 days. So after we were done shooting, like I was done speaking. And if you can imagine me not being able to talk for 4 days, Jamie thought she was on vacation. She didn't know what to do with herself. It was unbelievable.
Gary, are you still alive?
Right? But yeah. So little help from your friends is sometimes what you need to get through. And Aaron absolutely came through. Again, Board Game Hackers. Make sure that you're giving them a subscribe. And Brian and Tracy up in Minnesota, just they're Minnesota nice up there. That's true, and that is a real thing. So,
awesome.
Yes. So thank you very, very much. But you are going to. There's a couple of scenes. I'm editing it now, and I can hear it in my voice. Like, dude, you sound like hot garbage. Like, so I appreciate everybody. Like, don't send me cough drops. I'm better now. 98% better now. Still a little bit of
drops.
Right. Don't send cough drops or whatever. I don't know. I'm good. But you're going to notice a difference in next week's video. But it's a fantastic game. It's a great game. And that one, spoiler alert, is Doug and I versus the winner of the video that people are watching this week. Right. So the sequence, quarterfinal, Eric and Brandon, 2024 world champions, versus Brian and Adam, who were finalists at the spring gathering, and they lost to Doug and I at the spring gathering. And then we're going to have Doug and I's semifinal, which is the game versus whoever won the quarterfinal match that people are still watching. I don't know. We're going to get into full spoilers here in the next 2 minutes or so. But
so speaking of that, should we talk about where's
yes.
my finger? This thing right here that people have been asking about.
Yes. Okay. So I got several comments and 2 emails from people watching the video saying, "Wait, there's a trophy behind Doug that has the number 25 on it." Spoiler: no, that is not the World Championship trophy. Okay, that trophy looks a lot like the trophy that I have here, which is the trophy that we won for winning the spring gathering. Okay, so Doug and I won the anniversary tournament at the spring gathering. Doug is cooler than me, smarter than me, and he gets cases for his, like, that cover them so they don't get dusty, because it's just
it might just be because I'm lazier than you and don't have to dust stuff.
Maybe. This is actually getting a little dusty. I'm going to ask you for the 47th time to send me the link for ordering those, but no, this is what you're seeing behind Doug. This is the trophy for the spring gathering. Greg Smorey runs both the spring gathering and the world championships at Gen Con, and always does a really great job with the trophies. And this is what that is from. So there is no spoiler in Doug's background. All right.
Similar to the picture that was in the video.
Yes. So hold on a second, so people can see what we're talking about here. So this is, we had intended to talk about this. So this is the picture, right? This trophy behind Doug is not from the World Championship. That's from the spring gathering. And this picture, as you can see from the trophies that I just showed you, the picture that we showed at the end of this video, and if you look at the little note that I put out the bottom, that photo is from the spring gathering in 2025. This was the picture of the finalist in the spring gathering in 2025. So we're holding trophies, but those are not the World Championship trophies. Those are the trophies from the spring gathering. So I hope that clears everything up for everybody. Awesome. Don't hold it up to your nose and sniff. Yes, from the dust. Okay. I went a whole different place to that, bro. Yes. Michigan is here. Great to see you. 0 degrees, 0% humidity, 0 exploded trees. That's good news. That's good news. Yeah. We're making connections. And I keep forgetting this. I'm going to add this to the semifinal video that's coming out next week. If you're looking for folks to play with, I keep forgetting to add this to the videos, but if you're looking for folks to play with, and the best way to connect with other Access Knowledge players, diplomacy players from all over the world, make sure that you're going over to our Discord server and jumping in the Find a Player sections. They are full. We now have nearly 700 people in there looking for people to play with. Then there's there's a channel for each state, and then there's a couple of channels that have sprung up that are specific to different cities. And then for a lot of the European countries, I think we broke it into sections, so like Western, Central, Eastern, Southern. And then we did the same, I think we did states or provinces or whatever they have in Australia. No, we just did North, South, East, West, I think in Australia too. So, but there's people on there all day, every day, connecting and looking for folks and finding games. And we get very nice emails and messages from people, I don't know, a couple times a week, talking about how they appreciate the Discord and that they've been able to connect with other people and find other people to play with. And it's been fantastic. So we appreciate that. Make sure that Jamie just dropped the link in the Discord. It's absolutely free. You don't have to be a member. There is a member-only section in there that we kind of use for a couple of special events. But if you just want to get in there so that you can connect with new people, then that is fantastic. Another Utah person is here. There's a Provo group. That's true. That's right. I've actually talked to some of yeah, you have states. That's what it was in Australia. Yes. Perfect example. Thank you very much. I found a group in a matter of minutes to play a game of A with. Thank you for that. Excellent. This is like the number one thing that we got last year and the year before. Like, love the game, love the videos, can't ever find anybody to play with. Well, okay. Well, here's a way to do that. So we do our best to try to help. And apparently all of the players in Utah are here, except for, I don't think Chad is here. Is Condi Harad?
I don't think I've seen him in there yet.
All right, awesome. So we are now moving full on into spoiler territory. We've got lots of fun things to talk about here. But before we get into that, make sure that you're hitting that like button for us. We've got a bunch of people here, and that's great. We're excited to have everybody here. Make sure that you are hitting that like button for us so that we can share the joy with others and tell the algorithm to send this to other folks. So, all right. Go ahead. You got anything, Doug?
I feel like there should be as many likes as there are people on the live stream, but it doesn't seem to add up ever.
I feel like it should be. So here's one of the so yes, I would be curious. How are you watching this live stream? Are you watching it on your phone? Are you on a computer? Are you watching it on a television, tablet? Because it is difficult to hit the like button if it's not difficult, but it's a little tricky to go through and hit the like button when you're watching TV. If you're watching it on a television, it's a little tricky. But on a computer, I'm sorry, Tobias, you do not have an excuse. Please go ahead and hit that like button. Way to call a brother out. No. But yeah, on computers, it should be pretty straightforward. On a phone from Canada. Hey, Canada, you're our first Canadian. Great to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. All right. Jamie, yes, you're on a computer. Yes, I know. I can see you. You're sitting right there. But thank you for chiming in. That's awesome. I've also seen a couple of people that have been watching it on TV and then chatting on their phone, right? So that it's a little easier to see on the big screen, and it's easier to type, of course, on your phone. Jeb, appreciate you, brother. Good looking out. PC on the phone. Gotta have the So I like this. I got a little ticker that says I've got about 76 people watching right now. I think 30 of them are in Utah, and 15 of them are Jeb. That's awesome.
5 of them are other computers and tablets and phones that Gary has himself.
Right. Yes. What are you trying to say? I don't even know what you mean. It's fine. All right. Okay. So, yes. Yeah, that's us. Yeah, Brian and Tracy, they watch on the TV and then talk on their phone. That's good. All right. So, now we've got the likes closer to the number of people that are on, so we appreciate that. Bing. All right. So, let's go down here. That one. There we go. Okay. So, we talked about this already. So, first thing we need to do before we get into to next week's game, we've got to clear up something from last week's game. Okay. So, I noticed something fun. You guys crack me up. So we get a lot of chat during the live stream, and that's great. We love it. But typically we don't get a ton of comments on the live stream after it ends, right? Like, because you know how it posts as a video, and then you can go and comment on that. That was not the case this week. This week we got, which is fantastic. I'm absolutely thrilled about it. We got about 60 or so comments on the live stream after it ended. Again, love it. About 20 of them were about this slide and this part of the conversation in particular. Okay. So last week, I said that I believed that that this transport that's in 47 could move to 46 during the combat move phase to escape being destroyed by the battleships that are there. They could move from 47 into 46, pick up the guy, move to 37, and end their turn. Okay. There was much disagreement about this. Some people came on the comments to say I was right. I love those people. They're great. Other people came on. I'm just kidding. Other people came on to quote the rule book at me, which is fantastic. And that's great. And I appreciate them taking the time to do all that. And so I emailed a couple of folks, people that would know, people that wrote the rule book and are part of that group. And they replied saying that I was wrong. Now, I'm a grown man. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's totally fine. But that is an interesting piece of information because while this instance doesn't happen all that often, it does mean that a transport starting in this position is actually at a greater disadvantage than we would have otherwise thought, right? So like he can't escape during the combat move phase and then make a non-combat move, right? Because you can't move in combat and non-combat, right? So he could escape and move to 37, and then the rest of what I said would be true. If they want to kill it, they're still making it a hostile sea zone, and so they can't then pick up the guys in 37 and move into India. Again, we're rolling back to 1942 second edition here. The rules for this are the same, by the way, consistent across 42 anniversary and global. So this is still works for everybody. But I wanted to offer the correction and to thank everybody in the comments for coming through and offering the correction. I still got to say though, I think I think it should be allowed. I think that should be allowed because you're diminishing the ability of the transport for not a good. I don't think that's a good reason. But I don't make the rules. I just try to play by.
I'm going to go with what I said last week. It seems to me like you're making a combat and a non-combat move in the combat phase, and it seemed.
But I'm doing that anyway. Even if I don't involve the guy, I'm making a move that does not end in combat.
Yeah, I get that. But to me, picking up the guy and then taking him and not conducting combat.
And that's the trick. Is that now I'm involving a second piece in a non-combat move during the combat move phase.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Whatevs. So thank you to Kevin Chapman for replying to my email and setting me straight. I appreciate that. But I think I'm gonna go with Mr. Coffee on this one. In the one in a zillion instance that this situation comes up again in my house, that's allowed. Yes. So yeah, real quick here. Occupied sea zones. Not sure of the rules. So if your unit wakes up if your unit wakes up in a hostile sea zone because somebody built or somebody mobilized a unit there, right? That's the most common instance of when this would happen. Sometimes this happens where an enemy force will move into a space that has an unoccupied or undefended transport in it and not destroy it. Right. So when that transport wakes up, it wakes up in a hostile sea zone. It has one of three options. It can stay and fight. Obviously, in the case of an undefended transport, that would mean it would just die. it can move away, which is what I'm suggesting. It would move from 47 and end in 37, right? So that it escapes the combat. Or if it is a combat unit, it can go away, load, and come back, right? So let's say 47 was owned by, that they wanted to come in and attack 47. They could move over, grab the guy in Western Australia, and come back into 47 and attack. Say there was a bunch of fighters or whatever that could come and help it, right? The transport going in by itself, of course, would just be suicidal. But if he had air support, then that could be a thing that they maybe want to do. Okay, so that's, in general, those are the rules of how that's supposed to work. I added on the notion that the transport could pick up the infantry in Western Australia and make a move during combat that did not end in combat as part of its normal function. Turns out that is not a thing. So I've been informed. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Yes, we are sticklers for the rules. That is absolutely right. That's part of the allure of this game is, and it's something that Doug and I do quite a bit, is having a detailed knowledge of the rules of this game can be absolutely win or lose, particularly in the tournament settings. Can absolutely be win or lose. Like if you don't know that mobilizing in, that you can't load a transport in a hostile sea zone,
Yep.
right? Or you can't, or you didn't notice that they could build that destroyer in the sea zone where your transports are starting the turn. I've seen that in games before.
Yep.
Where you just are stuck. So yeah, it can absolutely be make or break. Or like, what stops a blitz? Like, how do you stop a blitzing tank? Right? There's a couple of interesting ways to do it. We call that foreshadowing. Anyway, moving on. All right. One last question on this. Can a loaded transport end the non-combat phase in a hostile territory? No. You can't make a non-combat move into a hostile sea zone or into a hostile land territory. Non-combat moves cannot move into hostile zones. So no is the answer to that question. But now, so here's the thing. Comments on all videos and live streams or whatever are always good for the algorithm. So I've decided that I'm going to make one wrong statement in every live stream from now on.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Just so that people can go and find the rule. Like, Blevins doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
I mean, why not make 3 or 4? They'll go after all of them. Like.
Right. Well, there's 700 comments on this video all of a sudden.
Right. This video is amazing.
I like it.
Viewership might go down though, so but got to balance it, man.
Right. Exactly. Keith Devine. What would be?
No.
What would the case be if the transport picked up the infantry in Australia and then dropped off the infantry in New Guinea during non-combat? Two problems with that.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Doug.
It'd be making the moving out of 47 is a combat move. It has to happen during combat. And then when you pick up the guy in Western Australia, you would have you move out of 47 to 46 in combat. Then in non-combat, you pick up the guy in 46 and go into 49. The two problems are you've made a combat move and a non-combat move, which you can't do. You can only make one or the other. Or the other problem is 49 is a hostile sea zone. You can't move into 49 with a destroyer there with an unescorted transport. But even if the transport were not there, hypothetically, you could not move out during combat and then during non-combat pick up a guy and then move again.
Right. So what you could do is you could, during the combat moves, you could move out of 46 out of 47 into 46, grab the guy, move into 37, and attack the East Indies. You could absolutely do that. Right? You could absolutely do that because that's all one combat move. What I said that was incorrect was that you could make that move and then not land, and create this extra lure of the transport with the guy on it. So yes. Yes, yes. All right. All right, Robin, play nice. So Keith Devine. Keith, where are you from? I've got I know some Divine folks, so let me know where you're from. Yeah. Okay. So all right. So any other questions about the transport issue? I think we've beaten this to a bloody pulp. I feel like we. All right. All right. Moving on. Okay. So now we're moving into the quarterfinal match that came out yesterday. So if you have not seen that video, you got to go. Or if you don't care about spoilers, you're welcome to stay. Great to have you here. Please hit the like button. All right. So the first one that we want to talk about is the brave move of the Italians to go up to Karelia with their tank and the fighter. I don't know. So a couple of things. First, here's how it turned out. They each got a hit. The Italians choose to lose the fighter so that they can keep the tank to actually take control of Karelia, right? And then the Russians come in and on their turn to liberate the territory, and the tank does an amazing job of defending. It kills a guy and a tank, and I think the Russian bomber retreats, but the tank dies in the final round of combat. So the Italians maintain control of that for 2 full rounds. And they could have built up here on the Italians' turn. I think it came back to the Italians. Maybe the British took it beforehand. No, I remember the Italians could build there, and they chose not to. So I don't know. In the video, I think the comment was that we didn't like the choice to lose the fighter or the combat at all. I'm curious if there was anybody that saw this and thought, no, that's a really good idea. Because apparently I'm wrong all the time. So it's fine.
Yeah, so, I mean, I commented in the video, bold move, but I just don't think it. Who cares if Russia builds 2 guys there? You're going to roll in with, 4 men and 3 tanks and fighters. Right. And that was kind of my perspective. Is just you don't need to risk your 1 Italian tank and 1 Italian fighter that are in, Europe. It's not that
right. To me, this Italian tank is really important, right? This is the tank that's going to jump through and grab Karelia at the last moment, right? This is, or it's going to be that last punch to get you into Caucasus or to Moscow or whatever. It's a really important unit, I think. So I would not have used it in this way. I wouldn't have attacked with it, but okay, yeah. Charlie's here. Hey, Charlie, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Hope you're having a good day. Yeah. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have attacked. So, yeah. But you know what? You're in the middle of a game. You're feeling lucky. You go get it. I like it. I think it's fine.
I think in different circumstances it could be the right move. I just didn't like it in this situation.
Yeah, so. I think that it would have made more sense if the Russians or the UK weren't in such a good place to retake it, right? I think it would have been very cool if the Italians went up there and took it, and then with the knowledge that the Germans were going to be able to come right behind them and reinforce them there, right? So now the Italians are not building in Rome anymore. They're building in Karelia over and over and over again. They're building 2 tanks. They're building 4 guys, or they're building 2 guys up there every turn. So yeah, I think that would be a really interesting.
But really, I think you want Germany to have Karelia so they can build there. Italy doesn't really want to build in Karelia, They're only putting out 3 or 4, maybe 5 guys on a good day. So
yeah, I suppose it depends. Hey, Brian Gamesmiths is here, our new general. Make sure you go back to the beginning. We said hello. Brian was in this game. He was playing the Axis here. I did say we decided later we didn't think we needed Corellia later. Yeah. Yeah, well, that happens.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, this is a fair point. Italy doesn't have the income for it, but Germany does.
Yeah.
That's true. I could see that being more useful if the Italian fleet got blown up, right? Like that'd be the only. Hey, Adam Smith is here. We thought this attack is we're likely to hit the artillery 1 and 3, not as much as preventing the rush. Oh, you wanted to get the artillery off the board. Okay. Forcing the Allies to trade land units or two, preserving the Germans. Okay, so you saw the German land units as more important than the Italian land units. Yeah, I can see that. I am always of the opinion that you want to have as many different powers involved in every theater as possible, right? Like, that's why I'm a big fan of having at least 1 or 2 Russian infantry or a tank or something move into China, right? So that you can always have that like 1-2 punch. Or if you can get the UK and the Americans involved, you go 1-2-3, right? Like you can all of a sudden, hey, that Russian tank is in Shanghai. Look at that. Amazing, right? But you can't do that without multiple without multiple powers in play, right? So to me, keeping at least 1 or 2 of those units up front is in play is important. Yeah, but yeah, definitely should not have dumped the fighter, even though it worked out for us in the end. Yeah, I mean it did. I don't know. I don't know that it would say that it worked out in terms of like IPC value. Like you lost 15, you took
I think
out.
it means the game worked out for them.
Oh yeah, the game worked out. Yeah. Again, spoiler.
Yeah,
They won.
It's not that critical of a thing
No.
in one sense, but yeah, I would have kept the tank and the fighter and not attacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's times when you make this move. I just don't know that this was it.
Yeah.
When Germany could roll in there with so much, and the two potential guys that Russia cranks out aren't.
Yeah, that's that's a turn 6 move, right? Where you're like, we're going right. We need this victory city and the Italians are going to go after the UK, right? Like, the UK's only got 1 artillery there. I've got a tank and a fighter. I'm the Italians. Here I go, right? Like that's what I'm doing, right? And to me, that's when those units their value becomes more clear. Yes. Okay. All right. So, moving on. All right. So, in the video, Doug made a comment about these 4 guys in Xikang. And when the Chinese, they made a non-combat move there, and then they placed their 2 units in that space. They end up with 4 guys in Xikang. And Doug points out in the video that Japan can get there with a guy.
So 2 tanks and 3 fighters or something, 4 fighters.
Right, exactly right. So they can get there with the guy, 2 tanks, and 3 fighters. And
actually get there with 5 fighters, but the fighters from the carrier from 62 could get there too, but you wouldn't need that much.
That's 4.
They're in 62. 61 is 1 space. Hufei is another space. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Yunnan. Yeah, my eyes were on the arrow. Yeah. I saw the arrow.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can get there with a lot, and if they do it, right, they're huge favorites to do this, right? They're huge favorites to go in there and just wipe everything out. But I got to thinking about that, and I think you can get everybody.
Well, that's what I was saying in the video. You could wipe out all of the Chinese land units. You hit Ningxia and Hufei. Yeah.
Right. So you go in there with 2 guys and the fighter in 62. You go into Hupei with the other guy from Suyuan, the infantry from Kiangsu, the infantry from Fukin, and the other fighter from 62, right? And you're easily taking both of those territories. Now, in theory, you can, of course, dice or dice, and two guys and a fighter versus a guy doesn't always win, but you're a pretty big favorite, right? But then you still want to get this Russian, because if you don't take the Russian, one, that's 3 IPCs, and China's going to be able to produce a guy on the next turn, because they'll have 2 spaces when the thing starts, assuming that guy in Manchuria doesn't step down and take something else, right? So you want to make sure that you get that guy. So how do we get him? We use the 2 transports that are in 62. We bring the 4 land units over and the bomber, excuse me, Doug, and the bomber off the Caroline Islands, and we hit this. You're huge favorites. You're absolutely going to flatten this. No doubt about it, right? So now you've still got this dude in Burma. Can we get him? I think that we can. I think that we use this transport in 61, come down to 36, grab the guy from French Indochina, move into 37, land in Burma, use the battleship from 35, come into 37 with the offshore shot, one of the fighters, not both, one of the fighters from 35 into Burma. You may not end up taking the territory, but that doesn't really matter. You just want that guy, because you don't want him to be able to step up into Yunnan to create that second controlled territory so that China won't be able to build a guy when their turn comes around, right? So you can get all of those things, and now there are no allied units in China or that can take a new territory in China. Of course, the Russian that's in Novosibirsk can step into Qinghai, but who cares? They're not going to be able to build a guy there, and you're just likely going to kill that guy, because you're almost certainly going to have something left in Yunnan, you're going to have something left in Ningxia, and you're going to have enough air units and probably that one or more of those tanks left to go into Shanghai. So and by the way, on top of like China essentially being out of the game for the rest of the game, you're now up 6. You're up 6 IPCs, and China's not going to be able to build anything, right? So I think this is. So I'm calling this Chinese takeout, just because I think it's funny. But
yeah, I think one of the keys to this is, I think, since actually someone just put it in the comments, like, I think since there's no complex in India, it allows you to be able to do this. If there's a complex in India, you have more of a race against time in order to try to get to India. But you take China out, you get the IPCs, and then you can move south against India, the following round. Because if you remember, there was kind of like this standoff. This one dude went to India and hung out there for like a round or 2, and all these other guys were there, so right. You could bring in that stuff down. You didn't need to sit there on its doorstep 2 or 3 rounds.
Right. So one of the things so the reason I don't bring that second fighter from this carrier here is because the Americans can range to 62. So the fighter that's in 35 flies up to 62. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this. To kill this guy, this battleship and this cruiser also come up to 62 for the offshore shots, right? So like that guy's absolutely brutalized, but now you're easily defending 62 plus whatever it is that you bought that you're going to put in the space, right? So to me, this would be massive. I think if Japan had done this and then grabbed the guys that either they built in Japan or that were left in Manchuria and headed south from there and moved those guys to 36, which is, I think, kind of what they did. They ended up kind of shucking back and forth. Now imagine doing that without any Chinese units to worry about at all. Okay. And if you're feeling particularly froggy, like that tank can pop out there and take Kazakh. Okay, cool. And now you're forcing Russian units to come back. How often in these games do we see Russia worried about Japan coming through China like that. I haven't seen it in a tournament match. Longer casual games, of course, it becomes more common, but certainly not in tournament matches. But it could have happened here. This is round 2. Take China out entirely on round 2, and see what that opens up for Japan, monetarily, tactically. That seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I mean, this was a 7-round game. You still have 5 more rounds to get your other VCs. Seems like plenty of time.
Right. So this is the trade-off, right? So if you go for China, then what do you have later for an attack on Australia?
Yeah.
So the downside of my Chinese takeout plan is that you're going to end up with several air units that are in Fukin and or Ningxia for at the end of round 2, right? So, but they can get back out there. And those guys weren't coming back to the coast to get on those transports to go to Australia. The guys that are going to Australia are the ones that are about to land in Manchuria. And they're still in range of their transports and are ready to head south on J3. And you, in theory, on J2, you can buy another group of guys. You're probably going to need another carrier because the Americans are doing their thing. But yeah. But no, that's the trade-off.
I don't remember what the build was this round off the top of my head. But
I think that I'm pretty sure they built the carrier here.
Maybe.
I'm not 100% sure. Charles is here. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Trying to look over some of the comments.
Yeah, I think there's time because to your point, the 4 guys in Siwan never really made it anywhere. So I think there's time to get the other units, the guys you drop in Manchuria, to still put pressure on India and Australia ultimately. So
Yep. Okay, so I like this play. I think that there's value in this kind of aggression, and more to your point, like the Allies open themselves up to it by putting that big stack on, in range of a fair amount of material, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in theory, if you really, really want it, you can send air units after the stack, right, to try to like blaze through it. If there's only 3 guys there, you might be able to hit it with 4 or 5 air units and trade off 1 fighter for, the Chinese stack. But all right, next up, UK 4. We went round and round about this. I told you that our session to talk through this video was like 4 hours long. I think 3 of it was on whether or not the UK should go into Karelia here. So what they end up doing was they went to France. They hit and pounded on France, and they killed the guys that are in France, and they landed there. And I think they also took Northwest Europe at the same time. So I wanted to kind of break down what this looked like to go into the UK, how they would do it, and what the ramifications of that would be. So this is a little elaborate, so I hope you stay with me. So for clarity, let me get myself out of the way here. For clarity, the UK was in Sea Zone 5, and they had the ability to pick up 6 infantry, 2 artillery, and then go into Karelia and land there. And they could also get there with the 2 fighters that are on the carrier. There's 2 fighters in... let's see if I get another shot of this. Okay, so before let's back up just a step. So the current victory city count, Axis are winning. It's 10-8, right? The Axis control Karelia. Then they've just taken Calcutta for the first time. So the Allies are behind. And when you look at the IPC race, they're behind here as well. Okay, so it's not looking good for the Allies right now. It's 102 to 87. So if I'm the Allies here, like I feel like I need to make a bold stroke, right? Like I'm behind. I got to make something happen. This is just my general thinking. So this is where they were. They had control of Northwest Europe, and there's 9 tanks, 2 infantry in Karelia. They can get there with 6 infantry, 2 artillery, 4 fighters,
and a
Four,
bomber.
four fighters and a bomber. Their odds of success, and by success, I mean taking the territory, 81% to do it outright. Now, I will say during our conversation, I don't think we ran that math. And we hadn't run that math before we made the video. I did this just this afternoon. And that's quite a bit higher than I thought it was going to be. But you got to think about, you're probably not going to get there because you don't want to start losing the UK air units, right? Because you're going to need them to defend the fleet in Sea Zone 5, right? So the downside here is that fleet is going to end UK 4 in Sea Zone 5, which is not a great place for it to be because there are 6 fighters and a bomber belonging to the Germans that are eyeballing that fleet. Okay, so let me get myself back up here. So it gets a little tricky. So you land there, you kill 7 of the tanks, 6 of the tanks. There's 2 or 3 tanks left over, right? It's assumed because you're going to want to back out with a couple of fighters. I'm assuming low luck here, right? Of course, anything can happen when you start rolling dice, but you do your best to figure it out, right? So I think that you get there, there's probably 2 tanks left in there. You escape with your bomber and your 4 fighters. Best guess, right? That seems fair, right? I think. So now,
how many tanks you say you're left? 3 or 4, 2 or 3 after that?
I'm guessing 2 or 3.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Best guess. Because you don't want to start losing air units, right? You got to keep the artillery so that you can take the territory if you really, really want to. But I don't suppose you have to, because the Russians will be able to take it before the Germans can build again. But you're going to get through a lot of those guys, but you don't want to lose any fighters. So I'm going to assume that there's maybe 2 tanks, 3 tanks there maybe. So now the Germans come in, or the Russians can come in and clean up those 2 tanks, right? They can send in a guy. They can get there with some tanks from Moscow. They can get there with a fighter, the bomber, whatever, right? They can almost certainly come in and take care of anything that might be left over. But that UK fleet is still in Sea Zone 5. And on Germany 5, they can come in with the 6 fighters and the bomber. So, top of your head here, no math. What do you think the odds are?
6 fighters.
6 fighters and a bomber versus a battleship, carrier with 2 fighters, a cruiser, and a destroyer.
That's got to be, I'd say, a little over 50% to Germany. They have more attack and about the same number of hits. Yeah, same number of hits, higher attack. So I don't know, 55% Germany.
You're the best. You're the best in the business, brother. 58% is the odds for the Germans going into this fight. Okay, yeah. So now hold on. So you're the Germans now.
Yeah.
You just lost Karelia and 60% of your offensive attack power.
Do you attack the fleet?
Do you attack the fleet?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you do, this is why I like Britain hitting Karelia. Because even if they wipe your fleet out, all they have is men left and a couple artillery.
And they're almost certainly going to lose a few of those fighters in the process.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
Right.
Germany makes out with a fighter and a bomber, maybe 2 fighters and a bomber.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but Charles still thinks that you still attack the fleet. Because admittedly, if you sink this fleet, it definitely sets the UK back, right? Because there's 4 transports in there. I will say, though, if I'm the UK and I know that I'm going to go to Karelia, I'm probably building a carrier and 2 transports on my purchase that turn for Sea Zone 3. Because the 2 fighters that came from Karelia or came from Moscow can go to Karelia and then up to 4, over to 3, and they can land in 3 during non-combat. Do I have another shot there?
Yeah. The fighters that came from the carrier. You mean up over Norway?
No, if they came from here, if they came from Sea Zone 7, they'd be 1, 2, 3, they'd have to land in 5. But the fighters that came from Moscow Go to Archangel, go to Karelia, go to 4, land in 3.
Well, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, wouldn't it be? I mean, I don't see what you're pointing at with your mouse, but don't you go to C Zone 6, C Zone 5, Norway, C Zone 3?
No, I'm saying that when they attacked. So on the turn on UK
Oh yeah,
4,
yeah, 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 yeah.
right?
Okay.
On UK 4, I'm buying a carrier and 2 transports to go into C Zone 3 that are going to
Yes.
catch the fighters that are coming from Moscow through
Yeah.
Karelia and landing in 3. That would be my, because I'm going to assume that on Germany 5, they're going to come in and hit that fleet. And if they do, they're down a bunch of air units, even if they sink my fleet entirely, which they're 58% chance to do, according to the calculator that is Doug Thorpe. They're going to do it, right? So if they do it, I still want to be able to move the land units, right, off of 3 and get over to Karelia or get to France or do whatever, because Germany's not going to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's. I don't know.
I think the other reason I like attacking Karelia is I feel like it immediately releases those Russian tanks to go to Persia and then to India. And if Germany wants to not attack the fleet and press their infantry and fighters toward Russia, then you have your fleet. If they use their fighters to the fleet, even if they get the fleet, then I think the Allies end up with India. So I still like hitting Karelia for the Allies.
There's an interesting idea. Just send in the transports and keep the carrier back.
You could move the carrier. Well, everything can get to where it is in C Zone 7, but if you moved the fleet to right, 1, 2, 3, yeah, they could land in France. But if you move the entire fleet to 3 and build 4 transports in 3, then the fighters in Baltic states can't get there, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the fighters get to 3.
yeah. This the Philobo points out that my math, that 81% included the offshore shots from the battleship and the cruiser going into
Okay.
those tanks. So your odds of getting that all the way down would be less, but
Yeah.
you also then likely save your fleet. But maybe not, because all of those same air units can get to 7 because you weren't able to also take France.
Well, yeah, you'd have to move the fleet to 3 and build your transports there.
Right. Yeah,
Because only
that's
the
it.
bomber can get to 3. The fighters can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
a good call.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought,
That's a
Charles. I
good
hadn't thought
idea.
about that. I'm not quite that sadistic.
Wasn't it
Just
Carl who said that?
Carl, yes, sorry, Carl. I'm not quite that sadistic when it comes to just like, here's 4 transports.
I don't know. For that stack of German tanks, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, well, because you control Finland, you have a legitimate place for those fighters coming from 7 to land. So you're not even feeling, even if your fighters survive, they don't have to, the carrier doesn't have to move in to save them.
Land them in Archangel.
Yeah, that's true. Archangel's probably better because the Russians can step in and
Yeah, Russia goes
back them
before.
up,
Russia could move that stack of guys up there.
which I think is what they did. I think this whole big giant stack moves to Archangel on Russia 5. Anyway, so I feel like this is a good discussion. I think the general consensus is that in some form or fashion, yes, Charles would know. Carl likes sending unsupported transports to die. Just like, good luck, kid.
That's right. Yeah, you got a shot at those German tanks. Like, you got to take it. That's my thought.
Right. Quiet, Charles. That's funny. That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, you could do 3 transports with 5 land units, so a near full drop. But the objective is to really like
Yeah, you
is to
gotta
is to take a huge chunk out of that offensive sword that Germany has sitting in Karelia.
annihilate those tanks.
Yeah, you got to go in there with as much as I think as you can get there, which is why I think I'm a proponent of sending the battleship and the cruiser up there at the same time. And I mean, I've said this before, like the 50% of the UK's naval responsibility is shooting down German air units,
Air units, yeah.
right? Like the
Yeah.
more German air units are coming at UK carriers and battleships and destroyers and whatever the hell, those are air units that are not going to Moscow, right?
Yeah.
Or to Karelia, right? Like that's so. Yeah, I think that there's value in.
Hey, okay, what about this? What if you go all in Karelia? What do you say, 81% chance?
Yeah.
You lose a couple of the airplanes in order to capture it, and then Russia owns Karelia. They could just drop a carrier or a battleship into Sea Zone 5 and help protect your navy, right?
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, they have
That's
$40 in the bank, right? They could drop 2 battleships in there. You'd be okay.
they are making a bunch of money in this game, that's for sure.
Not that much.
Not that much. But I do like the idea of like they could put a carrier with the Russian fighter.
With Russian fighter.
If I'm the Germans, I don't attack it.
Oh, honestly, I wonder just what a destroyer would do to the math. I bet it would swing it from 58 to like 40% for Germany or something. I bet it'd be a big swing just dropping a destroyer in there.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right about that. That's an interesting idea. Nobody expects the Russian destroyer, right?
That's true.
Right. All right. So I like it. So I think the general consensus is that in some form or fashion, going at the stack in Karelia was probably the right play here. So yeah. Yep. It's really satisfying to take out the UK fleet with Germany, but the thrill is so short-lived. That's true. They just build another one. They just build another one. That's the whole thing. That's like their whole thing up there. It's their superpower, really. And particularly in this version of the game, there are so many sea zones around the UK for them to be able to mobilize into. Like it's harder in this version of the game than I think most to isolate the UK Navy, right? It's harder to get a handle on them. It's easier, it seems, in 42nd to be able to get a handle on that UK Navy.
Which I think is what makes this game a little more balanced. Like Sea Zone 3 is pretty clutch because if you control Norway, it's hard to get fighters there and you can build right into it. That Sea Zone in particular is good.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we legit teased in the video that we did believe that there was a path to victory for the Allies in this game. And let me first say that I'm going to show you a path to victory. Then my sequence starts in UK or on US 6, which is just about when they had said this is going to be the last round. And this is usually when I like to think about, okay, what's the hard path to victory from here? Is there a line where I can still get there? Right? And I did find a path. But mind you, like I've been staring at this game for quite some time, right? So this is not a critique of Eric and Brandon's play. They are exceptional players. And the idea that any mere mortal would have been able to come up with what I'm about to show you in the time allowed, sitting at the table in Gen Con in the giant convention space with a clock and people sitting there and your third game of a day, your second game of the day, or just this is not an easy thing to come up with.
Your last 7th round of the game, making it happen, yeah.
Right. So this is the day that somebody comes up with this in live play. Like, here's all my trophies, right? Just so you win. I give up. So this is what it looks like. So this is the go ahead.
Nothing. Go ahead.
All right. So here's the situation. It is US 6. The Allies are behind on victory city counts. The Axis are up. They are they've got a hold of Karelia. They're not going to have it for very long though. But they do have a mortal lock now on Calcutta. There's no land units in the area that can get there. So they're taking Calcutta home. They have banked that one, but they're going to lose Karelia. So currently it's 10-8, but it's about to go to 9-9. Now you got to keep it at 9-9, right? Or flip it and find a victory city that you can take. The Allies are not in a position to seriously contend for any additional victory cities. They're not going to get Manila. They're not going to get Tokyo. They're not going to get Warsaw. They're not going to get France. They're not going to get Germany. They're not going to get Rome, right? And they're not going to get Calcutta back, right? So what they have to do is they have to make sure that they don't lose anymore, and because they're not going to be able to take another city, they're going to have to win on economics. Okay, so a couple of things to keep in mind. First, victory city's tied at the end of the game. You go to an IPC race. So whichever side is producing the most IPCs at the end of the game. Not how much they have in their bank, not how much they produced at the end of their turn, but how much is being produced at the end of the game. Okay. One very important caveat here. China is technically part of the Allied powers, but China does not produce IPCs. Okay. Now, there are IPC values on all of the Chinese territories, but those can only be collected by the Axis. Okay. So if for the tiebreaker, if China steps forward and takes Ningxia, right, that isn't +1 to the Allies, it's only -1 to the Axis. Does that make sense? Most of the time, it's the Japanese coming into China, but every now and again you see a German tank blitz through or an Italian tank come through Calcutta and take Burma and Yunnan or something like that, right? So if that happens, then the Axis get the money, but the Allies don't. Okay, so there's never I've never seen a particular calculus where it's like, you can look at a 42 second edition board and say there are 217 available IPCs on this map. I don't know if that's what it actually is. I just made that number up. But you can say, because it's a locked number. Here, it's going to fluctuate because, so when you see the totals round for round, they're not going to add up to the same amount. This is why. Okay? All right. And yeah, -3 for Manchuria. So here's what we do. So next up, this is the current IPC count. Okay, a little better than when it was on UK's turn, by the way. The Axis are in the lead, 95 to 81. Okay, so it's a 14-point difference. They need to swing 7 IPCs. Okay, and you know that they're going to get 2 when they take Karelia back, and they're going to be able to, and they should be able to, without real quick note here. If that Italian tank that got lost in Karelia, just a quick tangent here, if you'll indulge me, that Italian tank that died in Karelia, if it was in Warsaw, or any one of those Italian tanks was in Warsaw, there was an opportunity here for the Germans to sink the fleet in 5, right? Blow through what's in the Baltic states, and then the Italians go through and take Karelia. There was a German can opener there.
But the guys in Finland would step into Karelia, surely, right?
Right.
Germany would. Go ahead.
Right. So you'd need the fighter, and the Germans would likely also use air power to get through it because they've got a giant buzzsaw of guys in Warsaw. Yeah. They don't need any air units to get into there. They'd send all their air power to kill anything that was in Karelia.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, tangent over. Back to the path. Okay. So again, Allies they're going to come back. They're going to be 9-9 when it comes to the Russians, but they need to pick up IPCs here. So, that's right. It's not, Charles is right. Thank you, Charles. In the event that there is an IPC tie, which has happened in the history of tournament play. If there's an IPC tie, the Axis win. Okay, so they have to, if the Allies switch it by 7, the Axis still wins, so the Allies have to win by 1. So they need 8. So here we go. So now, as soon as you've figured that out, you're going for an economic victory, right? It changes every move from here through the rest of the game, right? Because the objective has now changed. Okay? So next, what can the Americans do here? Doug, I'm gonna move you out of the way. Come over here.
Sounds good.
So here's what they need to do. Okay, they need to kill this destroyer in 51, because if they do what I describe, this fleet, the Japanese fleet, would be able to move through 51 and take Honolulu. Okay, so the Americans are going to have to kill the destroyer that's in 51. Okay, that's their only combat in this round. They need to put blockers in C-Zone 48 and C-Zone 51. If they don't block both of those, that Japanese fleet is going to land in Sydney, which is what happened in the game. They moved in, they landed in Sydney through C-Zone 41 because they were able to move through 48. Okay? They blocked 48. That Japanese fleet cannot get to... They can certainly kill whatever the blocker is and then make a non-combat move into C-Zone 47 or 39, either one. 47 is the better choice because it would give them a line to do other things. But remember, Japan's only going to get one more turn, right? Because we've already said this game is going to end at the end of round 7. So Japan's only going to get to go once more. So the U.S. blocks 51. They block 48. Okay. Now,
I just want to make one point. I actually think not blocking 48, regardless of doing your plan or not, was maybe the biggest miss of the Allies this entire game. Like in this situation, you've got to block 48. Like it's a victory city. Anyway, just wanted to
no, absolutely.
Even if they're not trying to do what you're doing, like you gotta block 48.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think the two critical errors that the Allies made that I think made the difference in the game was this, and then failing to close the Suez Canal and letting the Italians come and go through there.
I was wondering that if it was a question I was going to ask later, but since you brought it up, if they would have blocked the Suez Canal when Italy was in C-Zone 34, I don't remember the exact game state, would Italy have been able to take India? And then conversely, once they went back through the Suez Canal, they had another chance to block it if they would have blocked it then. Because I think if they would have blocked it in one of those two situations, then Italy would not have gotten India, if I remember correctly.
I agree. Yes. So if they would have blocked the canal...
It was when they were in the Med.
No, if they would have blocked the canal while the Italians were in the Indian Ocean in 34, they still had land units in Egypt and in Anglo-Egypt, Sudan.
Yeah, right? And they could have hit India then, right. Yeah.
Now, the nasty thing to do, the nastiest of the nasty things to do here is to have closed the canal and then reached over and killed all of the Italian land units.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you had air units in range to do it, because now that fleet is trapped on the wrong side of the canal. They can't reload. And they can't put anybody over to open the canal again.
Yeah.
That would just be... That'd be gross.
I don't know that they could have done both, though. I don't think they had.
No, I don't. Not in this game. Not in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be. Anyway, so yes, that's so. I think some combination of closing the canal at the right times, I think, would have definitely made it harder. If not made it impossible, it would have definitely made it harder for the Italians to get over and take Calcutta. So I think that is definitely the other kind of game-changing choice that was made. But here,
sorry,
so back
to your thing.
Tangent over. Back to the path. So, damn it, Doug. You got me on a tangent.
You brought it up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we block 51, we block 48. Now, what do? So next up, we have to make the rest of our non-combat move, which is to move not all, but most of the American air units to Australia. But why? You just said that we can block it. Okay, so there's 8 fighters here that can fly over the blocker. They can go 48, 39. Their third move is to move into Australia and kill the land units that are there. Then, during combat, anything moves into C-Zone 48 and kills what's there. Then the carriers can make the non-combat move into 39 to catch the fighters that are coming out of Australia. Okay. So, if that were to happen, then the Italians, with their tank and their guy, can just roll on in here and land on Italy 7, and that's the ball game, right? That's a drag. That's no fun. So you can't just leave those 3 Australians to their own devices. Okay, you're going to have to send them a big chunk of the the air units that are coming off the carriers and the bombers, because they're going to need hits. So my math, I've got to leave 8 fighters here and 3 bombers to make it essentially a no-go for Japan, right? Like, they could still swing at this, but I do not like their math. I didn't run it exactly, but it's in the single digits. And if I'm Japan, I don't do it, right? Like, there's just, because I'm still thinking I'm up, right? Because I'm still winning IPC counts, right? So lots of air units to Japan. I like it. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. So next non-combat move for the U.S., which is what Eric and Brandon did, is consolidate in C-Zone 57. Okay, with the carriers and forget sans anything that was left in as blockers in 51 or in 48. Right, everything else is in C-Zone 57, and it looks like there's probably 2 fighters left over in that group. So you're there with 3 full transports. So Japan and they can't block 58. They're not in position to be able to block C-Zone 58. So Japan still has to come up to C-Zone 62. This is a good question. So, Paul, couldn't you also set up the U.S. to retake Australia as well? You could, right? Let's go back a slide. You could do that, but you would have to do it from C-Zone 42, right? You'd have to move all the way down here to be able to try to take it back, okay? And if you do that, yes, you're back to a 9-9, right? Because if you lose Sydney, you're back to 10-8. Now you have to take 2 victory cities from somebody else, right? But if you get back to 9-9 and you're in control of Sydney, you're still losing on IPC count, right? So you're still going to have to go out and find more money. Okay, so I think it's better to not have lost it at all than to try to retake it, because it's not going to be easy, because the Japanese are going to get down there with, how many, what was it, 6 or 7 land units, and then the Italians are going to land with 2 more. So I wouldn't want to try to get into that dice fight. But yes, it does ruin the other plans. That's correct. Okay, so back to the pad. All right, so consolidated fleet in C-Zone 57. So you're threatening Tokyo, right? So they have to come up and they've got to defend it. And of course they can. They've got more than enough stuff to stop you from doing it, but they can't straight up block you. Okay? But that's not really what you're after. Okay? What you're after are the 3 IPCs that the transports can reach. You're after Buryatia, Soviet Far East, and if they happen to leave 59 or whatever this C-Zone is over Wake Island, if they happen to leave those open, you can also jump in and take Okinawa, which is worth an IPC. Right? It's worth 1. Right? And when you're squeaking each IPC, like, man, every one of these little things is going to count, right? So you're after, that's your target, really, are these 3 territories. Right? But that's your US 7 move. Okay.
US 6. Oh, I get you. Yeah.
Taking those would be your US 7 move. Yeah. Okay. China needs to step forward and take Ningxia. Now they did this in the game, but they only sent one guy. They have 4 there. I'd have gone 2 and 2. Right?
What if you go all 4?
Maybe that's what they did. I think they did move all 4. I think they move
I
all
don't
4
know
to
if they
Ningxia.
did, but if you go all 4, then you're looking at Siwan, Hufei. On the final round, you're looking at the territories all around that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what kind of air could get there. I guess the bombers could catch you.
1, 2, 3,
Anyway,
4, 5.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
bombers. Yeah, the 2, 3 bombers can get there. 2 infantry.
and the
Yeah,
fighters
and the
in Manchuria
2
too.
fighters
Okay,
in
maybe.
Manchuria. Yeah, that could get bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not consolidate into 59 so that they can't block Okinawa? Because they can hit you.
Yeah. You're in range of all their air, and your air's in Australia.
Right. All the air units are down here. You're in 59. You're just going to get flattened by the 3 bombers. There's 8 fighters here. There's 3 fighters in Tokyo. And in 57, none of those fighters can reach you.
2 fighters in Philippines. They have like 700 fighters. These guys like fighters, man. I'm telling you.
Right. This is all the rage at the tournament this year. Everybody bought fighters.
Wait till you see the next game.
Ningxia. Ningxia. I stopped calling it Ningxia. I'm making progress. So, Ningxia. Ningxia? Ningxia?
Who's saying that?
Somebody. There you go. At any rate. All right. So, China takes Ningxia. I give up. I did my best. I do Google these, by the way, and try to find like the best pronunciations.
Problem is, you see different ones on the interwebs.
Right. Anyway. It's like an S sound. Whatever. Okay, I'm doing my best. Okay, so it's Japan's turn. They still get a turn, right? So what are they in this position? What do you do on J7? What can you possibly attack, right? So you can send your everything that we just described after the 2 guys that are in Ningxia, and certainly flatten them, right? And you can almost certainly take Yakut, right? So you're going to end up there with the infantry and the tank, and I think this is what happened in the game. They took Yakut, and they took Ningxia. I'm gonna have to find it. Anyway, now you just got it into my head. All right. It's not that they don't have enough air; it's that they can't reach. They can't reach it with the fighters and then have a place to land. Maybe they can.
So if they move their fleet to 59.
Yeah. Maybe, but if they miss, they lose Tokyo. Yeah, that's a thought. They might be able to do it, but I don't know that I would, because there's still a fair amount of defense there. Anyway, so maybe it'd be tricky. It might be possible. At any rate, so Japan goes here. Now, the game ends, right? You're at the end of the game, and instead of sending the UK units into the buzzsaw that was Poland, right? All they do is take Northwest Europe. They took Northwest Europe. They're still holding Sydney, right? And instead of going into Ningxia, they stepped into Qinghai and just took that one, because why gamble, right? And you're right. I missed something here on China's final turn, they could have stepped forward and taken Suyuan. So maybe it's one into Suyuan and all the other 3 guys into Hupei, just to take a shot at it. So you're gonna get Suyuan for sure. So I missed that one. So, but now your victory city count is still 9-9, right? Because they've got Calcutta. The Allies aren't up anything. The Axis are only up 1. So instead of it being 10-8, it's 9-9. So now this gets us to our victory city count, or to our IPC race. And without counting Suyuan, this is where they are. Allies 91, Axis 86. And they win. So even if, go back a step, even if Japan 7 swings out and sinks this fleet, right? So that'd be a difference of 3 each way. Do we still win? No.
No.
No, we lose by 1.
88 Allies, 89 Axis.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think you guys I see a couple of things about the Japanese fleet defending Tokyo. They would. This is the actual shot from the last round of the game. So the reason the American fleet is in 62 is because this is what actually happened. What Gary's saying is they'd be north a territory into 63 and not have to be in the Sea of Japan. They'd still be able to get Soviet Far East and Buryatia.
Right. So they'd have moved from 57 to 63 instead of moving into 62. They wouldn't do the big battle with the Japanese fleet because you don't need to take Tokyo. You need Soviet Far East, Buryatia, and Okinawa. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. The Japanese fleet, in the scenario that I'm laying out here, the Japanese fleet absolutely could have defended itself. Hands down. Right?
Yeah.
The way that the Japanese responded to what actually happened in the game is they dropped a bunch of the fighters on the mainland in Japan and let the fleet get destroyed. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this
like
is...
or something.
Yeah, they had like 10 fighters or something craziness. Yeah, I've seen this a couple times in the chat now, and I agree. Like, Japan's play here was as good as we've seen. Right, and I'm talking about this like Chinese takeout or whatever, and that's all fine and good. But Japan's play here was excellent.
Yeah,
excellent, grade A Japan play in this game, no doubt about that. And I've seen a couple of negative comments about what the Americans were doing here. Yes, I think in this last moment, failing to block Season 48, blocking 48, blocking 51. Yeah, I think that was an error, right? And we all make them, right? But I think that, them moving back and forth, I think is just a result of really good tactical play from Japan, being able to put themselves in the right spot, protecting their transports, moving back and forth, putting themselves in a good position to take Calcutta at the right times, right? I think I probably would have stepped forward a little bit earlier than they did, but who am I to critique? They won. So, but yeah, it was right. And this is true too. The Italians had a good force to attack the British in Europe, and this is kind of what I was kind of alluding to before. I get the notion of having this Italian force in Berlin as like a counterattack, right? So if France falls or if Poland falls, then the Italians can come back in after the UK to try to like, hey, let me borrow that and take it back at the end, right? I get that. But I think having all of them in Germany and not having any in Warsaw, where they could have also then either grabbed additional territories after the UK was done. And, well, by the way, I didn't get into any of this at all, but like the Germans also could have punched out here in the Baltic states. Again, you're going for an economic victory. The Germans, in theory, if they saw that this is where the game was going to come down to, the Germans could have punched out into Baltic, East Poland, and and that's pretty much it, I guess, because they had all of Africa already, so there wasn't anything else they can. They might have been able to take Persia, but there's a couple of paths here, I think. So I think that again, if you're looking at this board and in live real time on US6 and you're able to divine all of this, then you win. Like I give up. You win. Oh, Adam's here. Okay, great. I do wish we'd done Gary's Kill China for sure. Didn't see it, but I love it. Yeah. I will say I didn't see it until after Doug mentioned the idea of killing the 4 guys. And I'm like, well, I mean, we can kill everybody here. Let's see if we can, without, the trick is like, yeah, you could probably kill everybody. The trick is to do it without getting overextended. Right. And I think that the way that we laid it out here, I don't feel like that's overextended. But yeah.
Yeah, this is a strong Italy. I mean, not only do they have most of Africa, they got India, like what are they making here at the end? 15,
20.
16, 17, 18, 19, yeah, 20. That's amazing.
Yes, Charles, this is true. Yes, Japan could have landed fighters to protect Buryatia or Soviet Far East, assuming that they saw that there was going to be an economic problem. Okay, and even if they had, there are still enough land units with 2 fighters in that group. Like there's 3 transports that are both full. They're all 3 of them are full, so they can get there with 2 guys and a fighter each. So yeah, I mean, if in theory they wanted to, maybe not, because those fighters were in season 50. Yeah, they could get to either one of those. So yeah, they could have landed there, but they also have to worry about Tokyo, right? So yeah, I think so. But again, I'm not saying that this is the end all be all or that this is the perfect solution to how the Allies could have won, but it is, I think, a potential path to how the Allies could have gotten there.
I think I didn't. Go ahead.
No, they're not. Thank you very much for watching, Andrew. We appreciate that. Odds calculators are not allowed outside of Doug Thorpe's head. Doug Thorpe is able to look at a series of things and just say blah, 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 53.6%. That's how that is. No, what you can use, Andrew, are notepads, and you can write down, this is the attack value, this is how many hit points, blah, blah, blah. You can do all of the math on paper, but you can't use, you can't pull out your phone, and you can't use it to check the math on a particular battle while you're involved in a game, okay? Not during tournaments. So it is frowned upon in this establishment. So no.
I think one thing that I would have looked at with America was, I think it was like in US4 when they understandably pulled back to Hawaii. I would have seriously looked at taking the Philippines then and blocking 60 and 63. Just because, I mean, Japan had nobody in the Philippines, and if you take the Philippines, move your fleet there, block 60 and 63, I mean, Japan could send all their air after you, but you had, whatever it was, there were 8 fighters on the US carrier. If they blow your carriers out from underneath you, then you just land in the Philippines. And I'm not sure that after they wipe your Navy out, that they have enough of a Navy and Air Force left to get the Philippines. If they don't wipe you out, you're protecting Australia, and you also have opened up Borneo, East Indies, and maybe even a shot. I think it takes even pressure off of India, because now America's fleet is between the Japanese fleet and India. So I think that's something I would have looked at for a path for the Allies, is instead of moving back to Hawaii and allowing Japan to kind of get around the side and keep America out, would be to go south to the Philippines. And I think that would have been a tougher, maybe I shouldn't say tougher. I think it would have been interesting to see how that played out.
Agreed. I will say I think that's a lot easier if you've taken New Guinea or if you've taken Caroline Islands. so that the American bombers can get involved. So if they can get to a place where they can land safely and they can provide, intimidation or cover for that fleet. Like if you end up in Sea Zone 50 and there's five bombers in the Caroline Islands, like,
Well, you could put the bombers in Australia. I mean, they can reach 50 in 3 moves. They can reach 60 or 61 and land in 50 as well, or land on the Philippine Islands, right? One, two, three,
yeah,
4, 5, 6. Yeah. So yeah, again, like it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and say, here's what you should have done. I don't even know if that would have worked out. I just think that's something I would have definitely,
absolutely right.
I
And
would have
that is
definitely
worth that's worth repeating. Like this is again not a critique of these guys' play. Like it's to me, I like it because we're like solving the puzzle in a different way, right?
yeah,
And I think it's Monday morning quarterbacking for sure, or 6 month later quarterbacking,
well,
whatever it is.
yeah, that's
But
not the intent though.
right, so yeah, and I've talked to like anybody that we knew was going to be covered in these videos. Like a lot of them are BGN members, which we're grateful for, and we love that. But they've seen the content, they know kind of what we're about, and this is our third. This was our third year recording, or our second year recording at Gen Con. So people like saw us there and they understood what we were doing, and yeah, I think it was people get it. Here's a good question, Stephen Ferris. Is there any benefit in the Allies being more aggressive in fighting for IPCs in Africa?
So here's an interesting thought. Look at Africa right now. There is one tank and one artillery in it, and it's 9 IPCs. Now, obviously, this game came down to VCs, but um, if so, all of Gary's strategy here aside, if you block 48 and land the American fighters in
Hold on,
Australia,
let me get you a clean shot here.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to get back to Africa. If you block 48 and put the American fighters in Australia, 48 and 51, what difference would one British transport shooting down to, what is it, French West
Yeah.
Africa, landing a guy in a tank there have made in this game? Like, would it have been worth, the British fleet was in Sea Zone,
7.
whatever, off 7 off the coast of France. You just go down 1, 2 to Sea Zone 17, drop 2 units there. Next round, you come back up and you rejoin and you start hitting Europe. Like, I think the question you got to ask is like, is taking those 2 units out of play for one round, a guy in artillery or a guy in a tank, worth, like, you can test that. Maybe you don't lose it all. Maybe you capture 5 of the IPCs back. Maybe you get wiped out and maybe you're completely victorious and crush them and get all 9 IPCs back. Like, who knows? Maybe Italy doesn't send a tank and a guy through to India, and instead they're not looking that far ahead and they're just sending more guys into Africa. Like, I know it's a lot of what ifs, but the point of pointing that out is I think it is worth the Allies spending a little bit of resources on Africa, because if it comes down to 9-9, the Axis basically need Africa. If the Axis don't get Africa, they lose, or something else has gone really, really wrong for the Allies, is kind of where I'm going with this. Like, the Axis
Yeah.
really need
Yeah.
Africa.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky because it's a timed game, right?
Yeah.
In tournament play, like, so Africa is worth 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so Africa's worth 9. Borneo and East Indies are worth 8. Norway and Finland are worth 5. Add in Northwest Europe, that's 7, right? So, like, yeah, you might lose Africa to the Allies, or to the Axis rather, but there's other ways that you can get it, right? There's other ways that you can pick it up. You can double back for it later if you want to, but thank you, David. Appreciate that. We got ourselves a super chat. You can double back for it later, but there's not a lot of later when you get into a 6-round game,
Yep.
right? So to me, I don't know that I would double back for Africa. What I would do is maybe do my best to stop them from taking it in, round 3, right? So you got a question here. Should the Allies have built the factory in India on turn 1? Something I always do. Curious as to why they didn't. That's an excellent question, David. It's like an existential question, right? Like this is.
So remind me, last year when we covered the games, Gary, I was thinking about this actually today. Didn't we notice that every time the Allies built a factory in India, the Allies lost that game? And every game where the Allies didn't build a factory, they won?
Yeah, it was something like that.
I could be wrong. Now, I'm not saying that's just 4 games we covered. That's not
Yeah.
the definitive. That just
Right.
popped into my brain. I think we were like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the idea of building the complex in India, I think it's got to be part of a coordinated strategy, right? Same as it is in 42nd edition, right? Like if you're going to spend a bunch of money to build stuff in India, it's got to be coordinated with what everybody else is doing, right? Like, are we trying to kill Japan first? Okay, then yeah, maybe you build the complex there and you start building tanks to start heading that direction, right? But if you're going to build it just so that you can build infantry or whatever, and it's not coordinated with what the Americans are doing, okay. But yeah, I think it depends on the overarching strategy. I think it can work. We've seen it work, but
I point that out. I like building the complex. I've seen it work to not build it, but I like building the complex. That's my default. I would go with the complex 90% of the time.
yeah, I would. To me, I'm not 90% on it, but what I would say is that if the Yunnan survive, if the Yunnan fighter is alive at the end of J1,
Which happens like 1 out of 50 games. It happens unless I'm playing America or I'm playing Japan. Then I don't get that. Yeah.
yes, all right, I'm going to
Sometimes.
make a promise to my members here. I'm gonna do some member only content. I'm going to show you. I'm going to bring up the raw video of our J1 opening in round 3 in our quarterfinal
Three?
match. Is that what it was?
Gosh.
Yes, I will. I will put this together as soon as I'm done editing all the World Championship videos. I will bring out this J1 opening and I will edit this into. I'm not going to do all the rebuilds and everything. We'll just do the raw footage because I think our active commentary is probably going to be better. Like our commentary from the table is going to be better than anything we could shoot in a rebuild. But I will show you the single worst J1 opening we've ever seen, or even heard tale of. So I'll make that a member only thing. We won't get into all that. It was absolutely terrible. So we lost. I think we lost everywhere. It was absolutely
Not everywhere.
It was
I
pretty
won.
bad.
I won 1 or 2 of the battles.
Yeah. Yes. All of Doug's dice were blanks. It was absolutely terrible. Oh, another super thanks from David. Thank you very much. As I play Britain a lot, I do it in agreement with the U.S. player that we're going to go for Japan first. Agree that it must be part of joint strategy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's also sometimes it's about what you just said, David. It's kind of about what you're comfortable with, right? Making sure that you're going to be able to coordinate with your teammates really is the key to success in this game, right? And I think that the Allies did that particularly well. No, I'm sorry, the Axis in this game did that well. They got the triple threat in Egypt. They had German infantry, Italian infantry, and a Japanese fighter. I just love that. I think that's awesome. That's a good thought too. A complex in Calcutta depends heavily on Russia's one success. You're saying that because you think that the industrial complex in Calcutta will be helpful in the defense of Russia. So if Russia has a really bad opening, that you build a complex so that you can reinforce them with UK units. Is that the thinking, or that they absolutely crushed it and you want to build a complex to advance that? I'm curious which way you're thinking about that one, Carl. So,
Carl, I think we built a complex in India, both Allied games when we were at Battlefront Dayton, if I remember correctly, right? Um,
yeah. So for reference, Carl and Doug were partners at Battlefront Dayton in November. This I was running the tournament, so I wasn't able to play. So Carl stepped in and played with Doug, and they won. By the way, a very nice trophy, which is not behind you. It makes me a little sad.
it's my bombers. You can see the base of it right here. It's flying in the sky.
Okay, there you go. Cool, 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 cool.
Oh, that's the base of it. It's over there.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
It's up on my
Okay.
HVAC duct.
Perfect. Love it. A Russian in the Caspian. Henry, you're an agent of chaos, brother. I got another love for you. Russian carrier in the Caspian solves all these problems. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. I think I saw a note from Charles that I think I agree with. I actually think that there was an opportunity for the Allies to do this in this game. They retreated their Russian tanks to Moscow, maybe on Russia 2 or something like that, and they should have moved them into the Caucasus, in my opinion, because I think that would have potentially locked down India for the Allies. Yeah, I think there were a couple opportunities to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. There were several instances where, again, like I know that I sound like a broken record here. Tanks are swell. Fighters are better. They're just better. This game, it's closer than it is in 42nd edition because here they only cost 5, right? But like fighters in Caucasus can land and provide a better defense in India. They can reach to Karelia. They're much more versatile. And then you don't have to leave them on the front line. Like how many times do we have to watch a stack of tanks not attack somewhere? Right? Like go hit something. You're an expensive unit. Go hit something, right? To me, the point is to hit it with cheap units, with expensive units as cover, and that to me is how you win this game. But
What
people
what
keep buying
if
tanks. I don't get it.
what if when we were talking about the attack on Karelia, what if UK hits Karelia like we talked about, and then the Russian tanks move from Moscow to Qinghai on Russia 5? There's 4 tanks sitting there. Russia's having a look at Shanghai and Hong Kong on Russia 7.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's well. I will say the value and when tanks are valuable is in like if I'm buying Russian tanks, it's on like Russia 4, right?
Yeah,
So that they can start cruising towards China.
yeah, I'm not rebutting your point about Russian tanks. I'm agreeing with it that you see
Yeah,
tanks sit around and do nothing. I'm like, what if those tanks would have gone that direction? That would have been if
right.
you destroy the German tanks, the Russian tanks can move to China. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying, Carl. If Russia is crushed on turn 1 and there are no Russian tanks to retake Calcutta, right? Okay,
Mm.
so Russia steps into East Ukraine, Germans counterattack, destroy all of the tanks that are there, right? So now those Russian tanks aren't going to be available to help out in Calcutta. So you build a complex. Okay, that feels logical. Okay. I'll buy that for $1. Yeah. Oh, a full D-Day, U.S. plus UK invasion is impossible in a tournament game. U.S. will always focus on Japan first.
I I have seen um some people do an Atlantic strategy with the Allies with some level of success.
Mhm.
Um, I have seen it But if you notice in most of the coverage we're doing, the later game, the later game success from the Allies is usually America being in the Pacific.
They tried it in Gary and Doug versus the World.
It can't be done.
Nope. So sorry.
Your odds of success were so low.
If you have not seen the Gary and Doug versus the World series, there's still a lot of people that are watching it. I think that's great. So I won't spoil it for you, but it was a lot of fun. And they absolutely did try that.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we're going to get challenged to run that one back.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. So anyway, so I think it's been 88%. You know, I know some polls. Those some tough mojos right there in Poland. There's no doubt about that. So I saw that comment about D-Day, and it actually reminded me. I don't know if anybody watched the Renegade briefing thing that they did the other day. It was a live stream. Anais and Dan Bojanowski did a thing. It was basically about the new accessories campaign, which, by the way, funded 100% in less than an hour.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. But I think for me, they buried the lead because we talked about all of their accessories in the video that we did, which was great. Like the dice box and the markers and the premium 42 map and the acrylic tokens, right? What they dropped into the end of that is that they're reprinting D-Day. But it won't be available on the Renegade site or in any local game store. It'll only be available at Barnes & Noble. So that's interesting. And they're also reprinting Zombies. But that will be available on the Renegade site, but it won't be available until September. So if you want to pre-order that, that's cool. But if you want D-Day, you got to go find yourself a Barnes & Noble location and jump into that. So anyway. Yeah, this is kind of what Doug's point was. This game, Russia never had their tanks available to liberate Calcutta. That's absolutely right. And I think that's kind of what Doug's getting at there. Yeah. My dice work just fine. I want you to know that I rolled the same dice for you guys as I rolled for me. Right? You watched me do it. We did it live. No shenanigans whatsoever. There was a couple times where they absolutely went in your favor. A couple times they went in our favor. So it's how the cookie crumbles, my friends.
There are a couple tough battles each direction. Yeah.
There were, absolutely. As there should be. That's how that works. When are we going to do another Gary and Doug versus the World? This is an excellent question. Ryan, you're a very smart man. This is an excellent question. We do not have an answer to the question at the moment. Though I will put out a poll here. No, I won't. I'll ask the question, and you guys can think about it. There's a way for me to actually put in a poll.
I think I know what question you were going to ask.
Start a poll. Here we go. Do we play? What?
Go ahead. Nothing. Go ahead. I mean, do we get one phone a friend in the game or something? You guys have the world.
No way, man.
I mean,
it's not Gary and Doug and Friends versus the World. It's Gary and Doug versus the World. It's already a big enough title.
Patton's calling Eisenhower or something, right? So I just saw a question come up. The ideas on G1 because they left the British fleet alive. That was a surprise to me, and I was just when I was going through the game. That's true. Patton never would, but you get my point. When when I was going through the game, I was like, wow, that's an interesting choice to not even go for the British fleet, but it worked. And killing that American destroyer and two transports worked. Another thing that I thought was interesting is like, what if the destroyer off of the coast of wherever it is, Panama, what if it had just ignored that German sub and went out to the West Coast, you know, because I felt like America kept needing a destroyer for a couple of rounds. Like there's a lot of really small little things like that in this game that were really interesting and played out in a weird way. But yeah, I thought it was bold to not hit the British fleet, but it worked. How's your poll going there, Gary?
It's coming along. So
I'm not going to say who on my phone a friend list. I don't want to offend anybody. I have a couple players in mind.
all right, so here's the poll, my friends. If and when we do Gary and Doug versus the world again, do we play Anniversary again? Or would you like us to play 1942 Second Edition and we will take the Axis?
Is global not an option?
Global's not. Oh my God. Bro, like this game.
It would be fun. It would be fun to do global and give us a bid of like 50 and see if we could do it. Because I'm not sure we could.
I don't know that we could. I don't know. But we played 1942. Doug and I will play the Axis, and we will encourage our opposing commanders to play their best version of the Thorpe Thump. Because we've walked around for the last 2 years in the 42 Second Edition tournaments and looked around and seen everyone playing the Thorpe Thump. And based on the statistics that we went through after Battlefront Dayton, the Allies are winning 3-2 in 42 Second Edition, and the bid has moved all the way across from being the Allies +6 in 2023 to the Axis +5 in 2024 and again in 2025. So I think what we're proposing is that we will play the Axis
+5?
+5, +50.
+50.
And we will do our best to demonstrate how we would defeat the Thorpe Thump.
I feel like those stakes are high because we better win, man.
I was thinking about this and I'm like, man, if we lose that game, the 42-2 tournament will just be the Thorpe Thump competitions after that. But yeah, so and this is my point, right? Like we talked about this when we first kind of announced it, we kind of showed it to everybody, but we never really got the opportunity to show what our counter was for it. And when we came up with it, like in our play testing of, run this over and over and over again, like how do we, if someone runs this against us, how would we beat it? Well, we came up with a way, and I'm pretty confident in it. We'd want to practice it. Doug and I would have to practice it a couple times again, just to make sure that we. It's been a while, but yeah, yeah. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, love the number of people watching tonight. So great to see everybody. If you're here and you're having a good time, please go ahead and hit that like button for us. We've had a couple super thanks already. We always appreciate those. Keeping the lights on. Always looking for new members. We picked up new members all throughout the month so far. That is fantastic. We really appreciate that. Members get early access to the video. So a lot of the folks that are in the chat here, they started watching this video on Wednesday at noon versus everybody else started on a Thursday. We've got a couple of private chats that we get into. We take input from our members on a bunch of different topics, and we hope to continue to grow that community. We had a very cool event at Battlefront Dayton where we got a couple of We had a nice reception with the members, and Larry Harris was there, which was a lot of fun. And Matt Hyra sat in on that, and Brosco Shock was there. And, Doug was there, which was even cooler. So that's awesome. So it was fun. And so being members of PGN is 2 thumbs up. So if that's something you're interested in, we'd love to have you. All right. And that poll, what's the difference between? Okay, I don't know. All right. So how's my poll doing? It's pretty close right now, 46 to 54. They want to play the anniversary so far.
Surprising.
Yeah. To me, it's about like righting the ship a little bit. It's kind of what I'm after, right? Like, I feel like we made this big video and this whole series of videos where we just like demonstrated how dominant that strategy can be. But then we've never like come back and said, by the way, there's a remedy to this. This game is not as unbalanced as it seems like it might be, but we've never had an opportunity to come back and do that. And I think this might be a fun way to do it. Yeah, China can't. What do you mean by this? China can't really build a complex, but Japan can. Japan can build a complex in Shanghai. They can build one in Manchuria. So yeah, though in tournaments, it's not something that we see all that often. I get this question a lot, actually. Why aren't there industrial complexes built in China? Usually they're not fast enough because we're only going to get through 6 turns. And for 15 IPCs, I can buy 2 transports and I can get to Manchuria. I can get to Manila. I can get to Sydney. I've got a lot more options. But if I'm building a complex in Jiangsu or in Manchuria, that's really the only place I can build those units. So it usually doesn't have the speed and flexibility that you're wanting to have when you're spending that much money. But
I have seen a few different complex options with Japan, one in French Indochina to put direct pressure on India. And then I have done a complex elsewhere twice as Japan, and just to
didn't
save.
we did that at Spring Gathering, right? Is that where we did that?
No, it was in that round 3 of the World Championship game where I had the disastrous open for Japan and lost like 2 or 3 of my 94% battles. It was in that one where I put a complex inland.
Yeah. But it's like J3 or something. Like it's a very specific sequence.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
All right, we got ourselves another super chat. Thank you very much. Biscuits and beer. He's been here since the top. Very nice. We really appreciate that. Love the anniversary content the most. That is awesome. We're enjoying making it for you. Thank you so much. And another one right behind that. We appreciate that. Ericam. This channel has helped influence my ANA strategy and made me want to get the latest ANA titles as well. Guys, keep up the good work. Thank you. And make sure that I'm going to take a picture of that and send it to Renegade.
That's right.
But when you are doing that, make sure that you are using our referral code, or our affiliate code rather, which Jamie's going to drop into the comments right now, so that if you're shopping on the old Renegade Games Studios website, then we get a little bit of a kickback when you guys purchase anything on the store. So yeah. Awesome. All right. Yeah, they get entry every turn. Yeah. Yep. And man, it's a tight poll. Still 51-49. This, by the way, this poll is not binding. This is just us talking about it.
I haven't voted yet.
Doug's hanging out. Doug's holding on. That's funny. It doesn't give me the ability to vote. That's funny. I can't vote in the poll that I created.
Tiebreaker.
Right.
I voted wrong. Forgive me. Can you go and change somebody's vote?
It's all right. No, I can't do that. I can't change the votes.
It's binding as long as anniversary wins.
Right. Right. It's binding of anniversary events now. So I'm still making progress on the Battlefront Dayton contract with the Hope Hotel. Still working on that, trying to nail all that down. You can't see it, but I got a bucket of like pens and pencils and stuff sitting on my in a cup here on my desk, and I reached in to pull out a pen today, and I pulled out this pen. If you can see it or not. There you go. Packy Sports Bar and Grill, which is the bar and grill that's at the Hope Hotel. I just happened to pull this one out of the bucket today, so always helpful. So, plus one for 42. Thank you very much. I played a couple weekends, and my friends who were playing the Japanese left China without any attacks and shouted, "The people in China never stop being born." I just replied, "It's China, right?" Okay. And this is why you read the comments before you bring them onto the screen. Thank you, Quattro. We appreciate you being here, brother. They do have a lot of people over there. That's true. That is absolutely true. Yeah. Another super chat from David. Thank you very much. Was there a North Africa competition at Dayton? Can we see the final? If so, we did not have a North Africa competition. We did have a couple of casual games that were played of North Africa. Matt Hyro was there doing demos for it, so we did have a couple of casual games for it, but we did not have a tournament for it. In fact, there wasn't a tournament for it at Gen Con either. But I'm not opposed to having an event like that. I've actually had a lot of people ask me for a 1914 event. The trouble is, like, if I put a 1914 tournament on the calendar, people are going to have to choose between 42 second and anniversary or global, and then the 1914 tournament. I certainly could put a 1914 casual game on the calendar, and then if somebody plays an anniversary game in the morning, wants to play for 1914 in the afternoon, then that would certainly be possible. But I just don't know that we'd be able to get enough people. But I know there's a lot of people like 1914, so maybe we'll see how it goes. Yeah, certainly possible. All right, let's come back up here. Hey, we're up here. So I think that's where we are. Wow, man, we're already over 2 hours. Look at that. We just have so many people here. We're so happy to have everybody on. So,
great turnout. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited about it. There's so many people watching the videos and enjoying and commenting, and we really appreciate all of the support and the super thanks that everybody has come on here to join us, and we appreciate all of our members, of course, making it possible to keep the lights on around here. And I think I hate to wrap it up here, but that's all the content I have right now. That's all. I don't have a lot else to share. A couple of other events to keep on your calendar. There's Con of the North is in Minneapolis, coming up in February, Valentine's Day weekend, I believe. And Duel in Dayton is coming up in April. Keep an eye out for that. Robert Phelps has got that is filling up, by the way. I think there's only space for 2 more teams in that event. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you're following up with that Facebook group. And Spring Gathering, we don't have a lot more information about that other than the dates. Gen Con, the badges are going to go on sale in February, and then tickets in May. We usually get the event schedule in April for that, so you'll be able to like figure out what it is, and then you can go in and put yourself on a wish list, and there's all kinds of cool functionality there. But yeah. Well, awesome. Doug, anything for the people?
No, that was good. Good discussion.
Yeah, no, I think this went well. So, big glockenspiel for the Doug.
There you go.
There you go. Awesome. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for being here and for enjoying the content and commenting on the videos. And thanks again for the super thanks, and hoping for pick up even more members as we move through the season here. We've got so much coming up in 2026 that we can't wait to tell you about. And we will. I gotta close the poll. Let's close the poll. I'm going to end the show, and I haven't ended the poll here. Let's see what the results are. Have you voted, Doug?
I didn't. No.
You better vote. 30 seconds on the poll, friends. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Voted.
Oh, man, it's close. 10.
I'm not going to say which way I voted, but it was literally 59 or 51-49 when I voted, and it went to 50-50.
Oh. Okay. Yes. Yes. So yes. All right, here goes. Ending the poll. 53-47. They want to see us defeat the Thorpe Thump.
I think your comments swayed it that direction.
Maybe.
No,
Maybe a little
that's
bit.
not a bad thing. It's just
No,
yeah.
I just think it's a cool way for us to be able to do both things, right? We want to try to demonstrate a counter for the Thump Thorpe, but then we also want to be able to do the Thump Thorpe, the Thorpe Thump. One or the other. What?
I feel like it's going to be tough against the world.
You think?
I do. Yep.
I have faith in you. You're the Pacific expert, right?
I don't know about expert, but I mean, we all know, everybody knows I'm playing Japan, you're playing Germany. I just want to know what our bid is.
Right. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I think what we'll do is we'll just say we'll go through and we'll say what the average bid was, right, for 2025. What was the average bid? And that's the bid we'll take. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I think that'd be good. So yeah. 88%. Come on. So you're saying there's a chance. What are you going to do? How many trophies are behind you? That's a good question. How many trophies behind you, Doug?
I don't know.
I have
3. 1, 2, 3.
I have 4. I have 4 behind me. Yes. And this was my first one. This one we won the anniversary tournament in yeah, that's the one he's got right there. This one we won the anniversary or 1942 second edition tournament because we were prepping for the 2023 World Championship.
Yeah, that was our prep run for the
yes. And it's dusty as hell.
You got to get your boxes, man.
I really do. I do. I should order some of the boxes. But then I'd have to dust the boxes. This like it gets dust on it and you just like it's weathered, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah. Anyway, good times. Let's see. Any last comments in here? No, I think we're good. Yes. When is the Con of the North? This is the next one on the calendar. It's December 14th at 10 in the Bloomington Doubletree, which is just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Da-da-da. All right. We're going to leave it there, my friends. Doug?
Thanks a lot, everybody. People? No, thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Gary. Good times, man.
Hit that like button for us on the way out. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Jamie for being the moderator extraordinaire. Thank you to the Hydes and all of our generals. Brian Smith for becoming a general last week. We really appreciate that. Robin, of course, is one of our generals, so we appreciate those fine feathered friends. And we couldn't do this without you guys, so we appreciate all of that. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Keep the power on. Keep a candle lit. And we will see you next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.